Well, this is Bobby at Copal TV Repair, and this is going to be a functionality proof video for power supply board APS-439 that the customer can recognize. I'm hoping this is their signature because it sure isn't mine or of anyone working here. The board was returned and delivered today under the reason that I see here, item defective. Of course, our first job when opening the package, which happened about 5 minutes ago, was to see whether and what the most common repair that we do on those boards was indeed failed in any way, and it hasn't. And once that turned out bench tested, just continued to test. Once that worked fine, we connected the board and test out whether it responds as it should be. And I have made a number of videos showing how those boards work in order. Rectifier, standard 160 volts here. When board activated, it turns on the power factor correction. This raises to close to 400 volts. And the ultimate output on this side, which is where the failure most commonly occurs, that just doesn't want to raise up because there are MOSFETs that are shorted. Now that's kind of difficult to do the way I have it here because I have two buttons to press in order to activate that board. Activation of the power supply board, which turns out the power factor correction, and possibly this. No, this is the standby. This gives you 5.3 at the output of those two diodes. Let's see, that should be easy. And my probes are currently reversed. Okay, so it's not 5, it's 3.5 volts. Is what it is. So this works all the time. When one of the buttons is activated, it activates the PFC and maybe this, but the heavy output for the LEDs is requires another button and another activation, and so it's driven by, let's see, a good hole, and here will work. So there are two buttons that do that. Actually, you know what I can do? I can probably use two crocodiles to press them. How about that? Sorry, I have a free hand for the video. Can do this. Did it press it? I think it did. Will it work? Yeah, I can hear it. Okay, so let's put another one. I hope you can hear that as I'm pressing here. It is responding, so I'm going to put another crocodile for the second button so that you can see what actually is going on there. Okay, another crocodile. Hope they don't short on the back. Oops. Pardon the delay, this was not planned to be videotaped that way, but this is a tricky board and I don't have still a stand. Will it work? No, it just doesn't. Okay, let's see if I can do it just with one hand and one finger. Hopefully I will be able to. We've made other videos where this is working, so I don't know. So, okay, these two are down and my finger is on the other button. The first is held by crocodile. I'm pressing and the output voltage here is 2147. It cannot be any other way. Here is the cables showing that I'm not making this up. It cannot be outputting that voltage out there if there's any problem in the output circuit. In fact, because this is the highest and the most powerful output voltage, getting it out means that board is working properly. We can replace it, exchange it with another board. Customer didn't want that, they wanted a return, which tells me that, okay, I don't want to speculate and say what they thought and what they think. All I'm saying is, and the statement if it doesn't work is just not correct. This is a working board. So we will be treating that return as a standard return of a functional board, and the return will be under the reason of I changed my mind. Other than that, everybody can return a board. We don't say that you can't, you just have to return under the right pretense. So thank you for that. I did not show you the 400 volts there. I have shown other videos that show how that raises when this is being activated properly, and explain and went through all of that. Basically, what you need to know is this is standby. This is another sub-voltage 12 volts or whatever you may found, but usually audio. And this is the power stuff that goes for the LEDs that consume the most. And in order for that to come up, everything else needs to be up. And if that stays up, and this is the same logic for LED TVs, power supplies, or for plasma power supply boards with the output for the sustain, for the heavy displaying voltage, 220 volts or whatever it is. In order to have VS, you have to have all the other circuits working fine. And that's what it is. It's a working board. Thank you for watching.